Jody Hamilton sitting in for Stephanie Miller on the Stephanie Miller Show. She will be in tomorrow. She did do a brief flyby earlier today, so she's awake and aware of what's going on. And so Donald Trump referring to himself with his beautiful, beautiful body. Oh, that's gross. Just gross. Yep. That is disgusting, disgusting. Hi, David. Can you hear me? He can't hear me right now. Let's take here. Hi, David in North Miami Beach. How are you?
Hey, David.
Hey, is this west of the Rockies, somewhere in the desert? Hello?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, so I hope we're all celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day by watching movies like Killers of the Flower Moon, maybe Apocalypto.
Okay.
Because, or of course, Mi Familia, where a young J-Lo is getting wrongfully deported, because that's the world that Team Trump wants, and that's what they'll get at all costs for no rhyme or reason. And so if you hear strange complaints by Republicans, oh my God, people are taking pictures of their own ballots, that's fully legal, but they won't know that because their poll watchers are so poorly trained.
Wow.
So watch out for that, among other stupidity. But what do I know? I'm just a one-time mayoral candidate down here. So, and I'm your official licensed social studies teacher, since all history teachers have been de-licensed, defrocked, if you will.
Oh, my.
But, hey, we're just Florida. We don't need any history, right?
No, we don't.
No, and don't mention climate change.
And I'm your official Nader 2000 voter, so you can blame me for everything. So you guys have to get it right.
Okay.
You whippersnappers who want to vote green, yada, yada.
Well,
take care. Good luck.
I voted for Perot in 1992, so you're welcome for Bill Clinton.
That's true. Without Perot, we would not have had a Bill Clinton. So thank you, Christopher.
You're
for
welcome.
That. Thank you so much. So it looks like we have a David Ferguson. Are you with us, dear?
Can you hear me?
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Are you on mute?
We can't hear him just yet.
Oh,
no, we cannot hear you.
Okay. Well.
All right, we're going to just be with me. We're going to take another phone call until we figure this out. Hi, Dobie. Is that your name?
Yes, it is.
Hi.
I'm Dobie doing that from Washington State, and I'm a boomer hippie. I'm 75.
Right.
And I'd just like to urge everybody my age and all the hippies out there to support to go Democratic. Is it? Anyway, the point is, I'm not good at speaking, but I'm all behind anything to get rid of Trump. And anyway, can I be your official frolic king?
Sure. We need one of those.
Right on.
we were lax in those. We were in need. So thank you so much for stepping up.
Thank you. Well, hey everybody out there, we're all one except for Trump.
Exactly. You are correct. You have a wonderful day, Dobie, all right? You take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So we're going to get this situation with David fixed. Univision had a town hall with Kamala Harris.
Okay.
And apparently at one point there was a shot of her looking towards the audience, and there was a prompter there. And people thought, she has a teleprompter, so she knows the answers to the questions, or blah, 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 blah. It was a whole thing last week that she was given more information than she should have, yada, yada. Apparently, the prompter that displays text written in Spanish, because it was Univision, was a support element for the moderator. So that way, that person would know, okay, this is happening. We know what's going on. And then as soon as that information was no longer needed, a timer came up so that she would know what time it was and how long she had to answer questions. But it was on where I get some of my sound bites saying, she was using prompter. It's like, no. Yeah. And so luckily, the prompter displayed an introduction and switched to a timer, is what Enrico Acevedo said, and any claim to the contrary is simply untrue. So, yeah, there was no prompter for the lady at all. And she definitely, I listened to some of the questions, and she was one woman. Her mother had passed away. She was never able to become a citizen, and so it was very sad. Her father was able to become a citizen. She was able to help him, but her mother was unable to get the medical care she needed because she was worried about her status.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that people that are in this country without proper documentation are afraid to go to the hospital, afraid to see doctors because they're worried about being deported. Yeah. And I don't think that's right. You know, agree or disagree with our immigration policy, and we need to fix it. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
But for somebody to maybe could have lived had she gotten the proper care, to not be able to because she wasn't a documented green card holder, it's super duper unfortunate. And I really wish that didn't happen to that woman and her mother and all of these things. Lisa in Wisconsin, hi.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Jody. How are you guys doing?
We're
good.
well.
That's great. Listen, so I'm in Wisconsin. It's a big battleground state, as you know.
Yep.
And I just wanted to put the word out to your listeners. If they or if their kids or anyone they know is a student at any of the UW system colleges, including UW-Madison, if you're from a blue state, tell that person to vote here in Wisconsin. Don't vote absentee ballot at home. They can register to vote even on the day of election. It's one of the things that the Republicans have not yet stamped out here.
Okay,
that's good.
So again, put the word out to students at especially UW-Madison, because I know we get a lot of students from New York and California.
Yep.
Those are safe states. So please have those kids register here. They can do it they could do it now, but October 22nd, early voting begins, and they can register literally at the polls on election day.
I bet you have a lot of students from Illinois there, too.
I bet.
That's true. Yes, we do.
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks so much, guys.
All right.
Okay,
thank you.
All right, I think I'm going to break a little early so that we can, make sure that we're okay with young Mr. Ferguson. It is 14 minutes after the...
Welcome to Caffeinated, where we focus on the parts of a story that really matter by showing compassion to the opposing side. Take, if you will, Steve Bannon, the man who said, "Darkness is good." Darth Vader, Dick Cheney, Satan, that's power. Who published the op-ed "Birth Control Makes Women Unattractive and Crazy," and many other op-eds for Breitbart, most of which read better in the original German. Who warned the media should keep their mouth shut, and that same media can't stop desperately trying to book him on all their shows. You guys, seriously, I'm a little worried about Steve Bannon. Not because he brazenly defied a congressional subpoena about his role in the terrorist attacks on our nation's capital of January 6, 2021, wagging his junk at it, citing executive privilege, even though he'd been fired by the White House back in January 2017 and was working at the time of said attack as a podcaster, and not because he's a white supremacist who published a lot of white supremacist articles and supported the border wall and the Muslim ban and lots of authoritarian dictators, and who actually did say that cities could be washed away in an orgy of de-gentrification. No, I'm worried about Steve Bannon because the man looks like an alcoholic Thom. Have you seen this guy? He looks like a sack of pus that developed rickets. He looks like gout that caught gout. The man does not look well. Yeah, that's Steve Bannon, the one who was arrested on a Chinese billionaire's yacht and indicted by a federal grand jury for wire fraud and money laundering because he was ripping off Trump supporters donating to his Build the Wall campaign, and then Trump pardoned him for ripping off his own MAGA faithful. That guy. Is he okay? I'm just worried because Steve Bannon looks like a guy who was up watching porn till 6:45 a.m. and his alarm was set for 7. He looks like the guy in the office that HR has to physically give a deodorant stick to after one too many coworker complaints. He looks like a diseased leprechaun freebasing in the Port Authority bus terminal men's room. But we need to put aside our petty differences and recognize that this is clearly a fellow human being who is in pain. Can we do that? Do we have the humanity to reach out with love to Steve Bannon? Because he looks like the guy in the zombie movie who doesn't want the other survivors to know he got bit in the last scene. He looks like an infected toe. He looks like that uncle who comes over and smells of cigarettes and cat piss and always wants you to sit on his lap, but you're 15. I'm just worried about the guy is all I'm saying. And yes, I know his wife alleges he physically abused her and wouldn't let their kids go to school with Jewish children. I know YouTube has taken down his videos because they glorify violence, and Facebook took down his videos for glorifying violence, and Twitter has banned him for glorifying violence. And I know he said that Mussolini was a guy's guy who had amazing fashion sense. He said that. But in fairness, lots of people who aren't fascists praise Mussolini's style. But I am asking you to look into your hearts and find some compassion. Because Steve Bannon looks like a guy whose parole officer makes him knock on every door and introduce himself whenever he moves to a new neighborhood. He looks like Pigpen the Hutt. Steve Bannon looks like a guy who was just forced to drive cross-country in a small car with no ventilation and the windows rolled up while sitting next to Steve Bannon. He's not a healthy man. We are just concerned because he looks like he just ate 20 pounds of cheese and it's coming out of his facial pores. And by the way, I know what you're thinking. What right do I have to make fun of Steve Bannon's appearance when I look like Joe Exotic's mullet donor? It's true, I still have my pandemic hair, but I know it. See, number one, I accept that I look like the love child of Beethoven and Loki. I look like John Wick during a nationwide Moroccan oil shortage. But number two, I'm just concerned about him. So while you cynically fixate on the fact that he called the Civil War the War of Southern Independence, or that he looks like physical proof that white supremacists are the greatest argument against the concept of white supremacy, and he said that conservative women are better than progressive women because, and I quote, they're not a bunch of dykes that came from the Seven Sisters school up in New England. You ask, how can Steve Bannon sleep at night? I say, in a puddle of his own sick. But that's mean. We gotta be the good guys and look after him and make sure he's okay. Because he looks like a police sketch artist rendition of mutated gonorrhea. And that's why we're starting Steve Pack. Your selfless donation, MAGA fans, of $100 or more will allow us to buy multiple shirts for Steve Bannon, all of which he can wear at the same time. Then, when he vomits Jägermeister up on the top shirt, he can simply remove it and continue his broadcast. So if you see Steve Bannon, put aside your differences and offer him your hand. But you know to wash it, like right away. Like, wash that shit. And don't touch your face either, okay? Just offer your hand, but then soak the entire hand in bleach for half a day. Soak the whole arm in bleach for half a day. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. And remember, if Donald Trump pardons Steve Bannon for stealing from white nationalist Trump supporters, maybe we should thank Trump for setting Steve free to continue his fine patriotic work.
Now we, yeah.
Will you turn it around so it's, thank you. Hi, it's 20 minutes after the hour. This is Jody Hamilton with Chris Lavoie, and finally we can hear David Ferguson. Because we were having issues with poor David.
Right. Now can we hear you?
I think.
Yes, there we are. Hey, David.
Hi, these are my sunglasses because for some reason my glasses have fallen into another dimension this morning.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
5 minutes looking for them and then realized I was late for the show and that I
Whoopsie.
hadn't washed my face or combed my hair or taken my meds.
Oh, well, you have to do all of that.
Yeah.
You definitely have to do all of that.
Yeah, I better do the meds. I don't want to threaten to hurt anybody today.
Yes, definitely. Now, you sent me a piece on the Conyers Biolab fire. What's happening with that? Is that what's going on with that right now?
Conyers, Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a shit.
Oh.
Now you got in trouble again. David, you know better than that.
It's a poop show.
Yes, it's a family show.
No, actually, it's a shiitake mushroom is what I was going to
say.
say.
You go.
Yes.
There you go. So is it still happening? Is it still going on?
Still smoldering away. There are certain chemical reactions they have been unable to stop. The county is now without an inspector because he dropped dead at a press conference on Thursday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, God, the poor son of a bitch. This guy is like, the sweetest man. He's been like the one person on duty for the county who's been going around and checking levels of chlorine to make sure that things aren't lethal. And he had, so far as we know, masks and protectors and everything in place. But he was in the middle of a press conference on Thursday, and his eyes rolled back and he fell over and he died at the hospital.
Oh my God!
So it was all caught on tape at the press conference. I would imagine.
So why isn't this a huge story? There's this. I mean, for those of you who are unaware, there is a company called Biolab. They have locations in Louisiana and right outside Atlanta and just upwind from me. So they do pool products and chemicals for spas and chlorine stuff, basically. And this is the third fire they've had at that facility since 2004 was the first one, because I just started working for the public radio station, and they asked me if I wanted to go on location to cover the fire, and I was like, I think this is one of those miracle of radio moments. And then they had another one in 2020 when Hurricane Laura came through and tore a piece of roofing off, and water fell in on top of these chemicals that are highly water reactive. They're denying that's what happened this time, but it did just so happen to start burning the day after Hurricane Helene passed through. This place has been completely high-handed. It took them until 2 days ago to finally identify the chemicals that were burning there.
Wow.
Yeah, they were just like, would you like to inform the public like what you're exactly burning? I'm like, oh, we declined at this time. It's a proprietary secret. We need to protect our business interests.
Wow.
Meanwhile, 90,000 people are under shelter indoors orders. 17,000 people had to be evacuated from their homes. The one guy who was going around doing inspections to make sure things weren't absolutely lethal fell over dead. So it's owned by a shell company. We have no idea like who any of these people are. Their faces have never come before us. They should be in deep dookie. But they're just, because of pro-business small government Georgia laws, they're just doing whatever the hell they want.
Wow, that's so sad. I mean, and you guys are upwind, so you're safer than everybody else, correct?
We're safer than, but it does come through here. Like the wind isn't, it's like, I feel like Carl Sagan, billions and billions. The wind is constantly changing and moving in Georgia, especially when we've got disrupted weather patterns from leftovers from the hurricane and the next hurricane. So we're getting less press right now because of the hurricane, I suspect, but it is a
crapshoot.
Yes,
we're gonna go with those.
My beautiful husband.
Hi, Ben.
Baby. Say hi.
Hi, Ben.
Where were they? On the floor?
So, just so you guys know, there is a major victory that happened in Arizona. Thank you, Mark Elias, by the way.
Right.
A federal judge on Friday struck down a conservative group's attempt to require election officials in the state to submit voter names to the federal government to prove their citizenship and immigration status. Judge Lanham's ruling said that this is a voter list maintenance thing, and the judge noted that the task would require tens of thousands of voters' names to be submitted with only 51 days prior to the election being over.
Right.
And so a federal judge rejected the right-wing suppression scheme aimed, thank you, Mark Elias. The group lacked standing, but the request raises no more than a generalized grievance shared by Arizona voters. Even if the plaintiffs had shown an injury, in fact, the mismatch between their shifting requests for emergency relief and stated goals would prevent a federal court from redressing their injury. And so this is a good thing because Arizona is a swing state, and we are worried about people not being able to vote.
Yeah.
And the fact that J.D. Vance and others are still saying constantly, Mike Johnson just said it over the weekend, that people that aren't here legally are going to vote. Non-citizens are going to vote. And that's not a thing.
Right.
It's just non-citizens don't vote because they're concerned about their well-being, and they're not going to risk their lives and their livelihood and anything like that just because they want to vote.
Right.
It's not going to. It's already illegal for a non-citizen to vote in a federal election. So they're still going with this because they're just who they are, and it's definitely not a good thing.
Right.
So I'm glad that this one happened, and we have look, Marie in Atlanta. She's our legal lady in Georgia.
Yeah.
Hi, Marie.
Hey, Marie.
Hey
there. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
Yes, that Conyers chemical situation, that is a crap show extraordinaire. The poor guy who was the representative, he came down to the state capitol, and in his remarks, you could hear he was saying, "Oh, I'm a little out of breath," and he coughed a few times, and he got through his statement, and then he went out in the hallway and collapsed, and he was
that's
gone.
Terrible.
They could not revive him.
It just makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
The air quality has been an issue, and one of the things about Georgia EPD that unfortunately is very true. They're asleep at the wheel 99% of the time. I don't know what we pay them for, because they seem to do absolutely nothing in the way of preventative work.
Right.
And after the fact, they sort of shrug their shoulders like, "Oh, wow, I bet that sucks."
Yeah.
No, really, like, oh, yeah, we should have maybe done something about that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So yes, I and good that you are upwind from that, because for those who are downwind, it's a scary, scary time.
Absolutely.
We all had sore throats and headaches all last week. I'm still kind of like, you can hear me a little, it's not great.
Right.
We just have it less parts per million than the people who are directly in the path.
There you go. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Well, Marie, you called because you said there might be legal reasons for Romney not to vote for, not to say he's voting for Harris.
Yeah. It's less so Romney than Pence, but I can't honestly say that Romney's not potentially affected. Remember that with respect to Mike Pence specifically, it's not because of the whole "Hang Mike Pence" chant and him saying, "Oh, Mike Pence, I'm going to be really upset if you don't do the right thing."
Right.
It's not unusual. It wouldn't be a point of attack that he has said publicly, "I am not going to support Donald Trump." But he would open himself up to an additional attack if he ever ends up on the stand, and we hope this thing will eventually go to trial.
Mm-hmm.
If he ends up on the stand as a witness, he could be. That could be used to impeach his credibility,
to
undermine his credibility.
That makes sense. Yeah. Now that makes sense. Well, thank you so much for that clarification. It is 29 minutes after the hour. We'll be right back.
Trump has gotten by, which is why I labeled him many years ago as the P.T. Barnum of our age. Mm-hmm. He is someone who's figured out how to exploit the sensibilities and weaknesses and the cultural attitudes of American life. It's easy to do that when people have checked out, and you can find a way to pull them back in a conversation. So when you look at the vast number of people who had largely checked out of our political system after the mid-1990s, and pretty much sat on the sidelines and just became sort of pop culture, consumers, reality TV and things like that. He figured that out. And so today, to your very point, why he's able to convince people that he knows more than the federal government. Mm-hmm. He knows more than the generals who run our military. He knows more than the scientists at NASA or MIT or NIH, right? Mm-hmm. He knows more. This man doesn't know how to tie his damn shoes. He doesn't even know what his weight is. He lies. I mean, the man lies about his weight. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump is not 215 pounds, people.
No.
All right. So if you are objectively looking at a fat ass man who's telling you that he's 215 pounds, and then you look at the next picture of your 215 pound son, who looks like, I don't know, a football player or a soccer player, and you objectively say to yourself that one of these things is like the other? No. We can't do 4 more years of this. We cannot do 4 more years. I get the whole, I don't know if Kamala can do this. She's been vice president. She's been a prosecutor. She's been a U.S. senator. She can do the job, and she's shown she can. So get over your misogyny and the idea that a woman can't be president. We've had women as queens, prime ministers, and presidents. So the U.S. can catch up with the rest of the globe and put a woman in charge of the country. And maybe, just maybe, for the first time in 40 years, we'll get our shit together and start fixing the damn problems. Because you know and I know that in any household in America, when there's shit in the corner, who cleans it up? Your mama, your grandmama, your sister, your aunt.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
The great state of Texas. She's fantastic. And
We love her.
We love her so much. She's so amazing. So Donald has been triggered.
And who's this with us?
This is David Ferguson.
Yes.
T-Rex.
Where?
He's
That
right behind
shirt.
you. He's right there. He's right. T-Rex is there with his little tiny little hands from Astral Summer and the Bob Seska show that we are on together on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So Donald is very upset because the DOJ has slapped down a voter purge.
Okay.
In a swing state in Virginia.
Right.
Trump claimed the DOJ was plotting to install illegal voters. This was done so that they can cheat in the election, he declared. So sad.
Where are they getting this? It's their like. Do you guys remember when Britney Spears was on SNL and she was doing a Christina Aguilera impression for Sherry O'Terry and Will Ferrell, and she's like, "I don't front, yo. No, look, I don't front, yo." They were like, "Really?" She's like, "No, I don't front." And Will's like, "She's coming down really hard on the fronting thing." You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
that's just how I feel about they are about. You know, we don't let illegals vote. They don't vote. We don't go let them vote. Like they don't vote.
They don't. They're already not.
They're coming down really hard on the illegal voting thing.
Yeah, it's all lies because it's a 5-year prison sentence or deportation or both. You know what I mean? It's a lot of money if you vote when you're not allowed to. I mean, that woman in Texas who voted.
But you're also
go on.
Go ahead.
No, you're
go. Doing everything you can to stay under the radar.
Exactly.
When you're illegal. I mean, I haven't personally experienced that, except for a couple of months in Brighton, England, when I was, on gap year. But it's a very different situation.
Well,
you don't want to call attention to yourself. You don't want to be like, "Yes, America, here I am voting."
Right.
So it's the stupidest thing. It's a problem they have made up out of whole cloth. It's that we might as well be like dealing with the perils of dragon emissions. And the effect on
You're not wrong. You are definitely not wrong, sir. I completely agree with you. And it's Congress adopted the National Voter Registration Act, the Motor Voter Act, to prevent error-prone 11th hour efforts that are that disenfranchise people. The right to vote is a cornerstone of our democracy, said the Justice Department. They'll continue to ensure the rights of qualified voters are protected, and there's no evidence to support the claims that people without citizenship are voting in federal elections. It's illegal. Now, I know that in certain municipalities, it's legal for people that aren't here with proper documentation to vote in local elections. I think Los Angeles is a city that allows that for municipal elections. I'm not 100% sure. But people are also upset that people that are undocumented are getting driver's licenses. Don't you want them to drive safely? Like, wouldn't you want that? Right. I want people to drive safely in my city. I don't care if they're documented or not. I want them to know how to drive and to do it properly whilst I'm on the same streets as they are. I want them to be insured. I want it doesn't matter to me if somebody is here legally or not. And so the conservatives do get upset that undocumented immigrants get driver's licenses of all things.
And dead people voting, that's a big thing for them.
Yeah.
And there's only one town in all the country where dead people vote. That's Haint Holler, down here in central Georgia, where a population is believed to be 100, 110, somewhere in there, and you vote by Ouija board. But that is the only place in the United States where it is legal to be dead and vote, all right?
Well, and then I remember years ago when everybody was talking about this during, I think, the 2016 election that, quote, dead people were voting.
Right.
And I said to a friend of mine, I said, yeah, the first thing you do when your relative dies is go down to the registration office and take their names off the rolls. It's like, just because a dead person's name is still on the rolls doesn't mean they're voting.
Yeah, they're not going to vote.
Because they're not around to vote. Now, as long as you vote before you die in an election, that vote should count, even if you die the day later.
That's why I keep asking if Jimmy Carter has early voted.
Do we know if Jimmy Carter has voted yet?
Okay, that is totally tasteless, Chris.
I know it's totally tasteless, but
are we holding a mirror by the former president?
But he said his dying wish is to vote for Kamala Harris, and so I hope he's voted for Kamala Harris.
I hope so too.
I'm pretty sure he probably has.
You've made him giggle.
I know. Holding a mirror up to his nose.
I told you about how my mom got the GD got sworn at by Jimmy Carter. I've told you this story?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to do this really quick.
Okay.
My mom was when she was alive, she's a big, big fundraiser and, Democratic activist in the state of Georgia. Rosalind came to town with her entourage. They gave a speech. They did a voting thing. There was a silent auction. They got super bored. Rosalind was like, I would just give my arm for a glass of sweet tea. And my mom was like, well, come on over to my house. We'll sit and talk. And they went to my mom's house, which was a bed and breakfast at the time.
Wow.
And at 9 o'clock, all the phones turned off. The phones would not ring. Hours passed because Rosalind and my mama were getting on like a house on fire. And suddenly Rosalind turns white and goes, I have not checked in with my Secret Service detail.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And it's hours. It's like after 11 o'clock at night. So my mom runs to the phone to pick it up to see if there's any messages. And there's no dial tone or anything.
Uh-oh.
She's just like, hello. And this voice says, this is President Jimmy Carter, and I would like to speak to my GD wife.
Did he say GD or did he say the entire?
No, he pulled the full swear word out.
Wow.
Out of it. And my mother is like, I have made one of the most powerful people in the free world completely furious. A man known for his decorum.
Yes. Well, he was terrified.
And, he was worried, and he later sent her a lovely note apologizing, and they actually got to be fairly good friends. But I love that story so much. The most patient, diplomatic man in the history of the American president, and my mother had him dropping the GD word.
Well, good for your mama for letting that out.
Yeah. But
know.
Rosalind just wanted some sweet tea.
She just wanted some sweet tea. She just to let everybody know.
He just wanted to speak to his wife.
His GD wife.
His GD wife. That's funny. I love that.
Wow.
That's my family in politics. Just nuisances kind of getting in the way and causing international incidents. Why not?
Right.
There you go. Hey, farmer in Virginia, hi.
Hey. Hey, greetings from southeastern Virginia, Chris, not far from your old lederhosen stomping ground.
There you go. Are you from Hampton Roads?
No, Norfolk.
Yeah, Hampton Roads. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I like to be a little more specific.
Yeah, and you like to pronounce it correctly, Norfolk.
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 Yep.
Norfolk.
What's with that? Why do they say that like they're from Maine and everything else like they're from Maryland?
You know what? I have no idea.
T-Rex. We do.
T-Rex,
I love your latest piece on your Patreon page. I feel like I need a break from straight people. Oh
yes.
my gosh.
Don't we all? Sorry, Jody.
Oh my gosh. So good. And I knew you were going to swear first thing, so you got that out of the way, didn't you?
It was
hey,
a
Chris,
shiitake
I got a little
mushroom
bone
I
to
was
pick
talking
with
about.
Chris, I got a little bone to pick with you, but first I wanted to thank you.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, yeah, you're back.
There, you're back.
Oh, good. Hey, I want to thank you for all the hard work you're doing on the shows on the road, man. The Chicago show was so great. I took 2 virgins.
Oh, awesome.
And I want to thank you for the DC show a couple years ago, too. That was so much fun, too.
Aw, you're welcome.
I know you work your butt off, dude, but I was sitting second row in Chicago, and I actually got to watch you watch Stephanie when she was pleasuring herself. I had more fun watching you watching her than I did watch her.
Yeah.
That
always makes me uncomfortable when she pleasures herself on stage.
I know, but it was fun watching you watch her.
Okay, now, Chris, as a gay man of a certain age, I know you've seen Madonna in concert at least twice.
I've never seen Madonna in concert.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you,
Not that kind of gay.
I saw her on the MTV Video Music Awards in that.
Like everybody
did. in the dress.
I haven't either. I feel, I don't know, a little less alone and afraid in the universe right now. You just pretend it's like a virgin and she's up there just,
right.
I don't let the fingers do the walking and
Yeah. No.
Oy-vey.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that now. I really don't want
We're walking the line, folks. The
Yeah.
FCC is just like, they're reaching for the button.
So Vogue has now put Kamala Harris on the cover of their latest pre-election edition. And the cover basically states she is the candidate of our times.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful photograph that Annie Leibovitz took of her.
And that set Megyn Kelly off.
It did. Now, Megyn Kelly claims...
Well, she has chosen in the last month and a half to become the world's angriest overcooked chicken wing.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Megyn Kelly, I don't know, she seems to have lost that last 10 pounds of water weight or whatever, and it made her mad. Oh, my God. She's just like, oh, how you are. Yeah. Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris so that children will be happy. I don't know. So what's she up to now?
Well, basically, with Meghan McCain actually went off.
Yeah.
And she said that her father did not take kindly to Kamala Harris, apparently. And our friend Cliff Schechter, who will be on next week, knows a thing or two about what Senator McCain thought of his daughter.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure he will be talking about that with Ms. Miller next week when he is on. But yeah, he's got the goods. He's got the receipts on this and what Senator McCain actually thought of his daughter, and he's ready to release them if she keeps going off on Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Because
just release them. Don't be such a tease.
Well, I understand that part of it. I totally understand.
He's got to save it for his book.
Exactly. He'll put it on his YouTube channel next week.
Did you hear what T-Rex muttered? Yeah, like Bob Woodward.
Exactly. You know how I feel about him. Okay, this is new reporting that we're not super surprised about. But when ABC did the debate with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, apparently his aides were calling to talk to the moderators while the debate was going on because they were saying they're going against our contract about not fact-checking.
Right.
But the Washington Post looked, there was no stipulation.
They were calling? Wait.
They were calling ABC while the debate was happening, wanting to talk to the moderators at the time.
Mm-hmm. This is Harris Vance? This is...
Trump. The Harris-Trump debate. Yes, it was Trump's people. And they were calling during the debate, we're calling the head of ABC and asking to talk to David Muir while on air. And
so Stevie Chung is calling up during the debate like a helicopter mom.
Mm-hmm.
and being like, let me speak to that. That question was unfair. I need to talk to him right now. It's like he's on the air right now. Can I give him a message?
Like he has a phone right next to him.
Right, as if they would do that anyway. But I mean, it's according to this reporting, it was his top aide Susan Wiles. She made a call to the president of ABC.
That's insane.
That's just...
That is literally like taking your parents to class to get them to take your final for you, and then taking them to the dean when you make an F. You know,
They said they implored the network to stop fact-checking for the rest of the event, and that they had breached their contract. And a call was even lodged to the president by Susie Wiles. And at one Trump advisor demanded to talk to the moderators during the debate. Like, as if. And so a contract that the Trump team signed before the debate and reviewed by the Washington Post said there was no stipulation that he would not be fact-checked. So they weren't under any contractual obligation not to say, hey, dude, cats and dogs are not being eaten in Ohio, which is one of the few times they did fact-check. You know, and it's amazing that they had the cojones to think that it would be okay to get through, and that, because they had, 3 maybe commercial breaks for that hour and a half, if that many?
Yeah.
I mean, so you're not going to...
And it was never specified that there was going to be no fact-checking.
No, it never
Stephen
was.
Chung really needs to go back to his job as a slimy, angry baby hippo on the internet. So much cuter when he's like trying to bite the water, like, I, you know, instead of like just issuing these like 7th grade girl like press releases.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed for him.
Yeah, it is. It's hilarious to me that they even thought that was something that they could do. I find that very, very amusing, to say the least.
Yep.
It is.
Well, is this all we're going to see of Trump until the election now? Is just these behind the hand, like just like little incoherent, like sideways things from interviews, and because I mean he's really like the decompensation has picked up speed.
Yes, it has. It absolutely has. You are correct on that, sir. And it is already 49 minutes after the hour.
Oh, hi. Come. Walk with me. I kind of want to talk about the least of my people. You know, every year around this time, I always got to try real hard to not smack upside the head all these hypocrites, snakes, and vipers who call undocumented U.S. workers illegals. I don't like getting angry, but this shit makes me want to flip a table. Illegals is a racist, dehumanizing, otherizing term. It's designed to make other people appear less than human, so you won't feel bad when you treat them inhumanely. It's a really shitty noun. Ask yourself this: when's the last time Fox News called any other kind of lawbreaker an illegal? If you do 56 in a 55 zone, aren't you an illegal too? Huh? Come on. Now, you wouldn't know it from watching Tucker, but the majority of undocumented immigrants in this country are people who overstayed their visas. However, every night on Fox, he who tucks and his brood of vipers say illegals, and they're always referring to brown people crossing a border. Here's a dirty secret. Politicians could end undocumented immigration tomorrow if they wanted by locking up the white people who do all the hiring. This is supply and demand economics, my friends. There's a gigantic help wanted sign at our southern border, and there's no wall you can ever build that'll be big enough to hide it. And politicians of both parties are in no rush to take down the help wanted sign. Rich people pay Fox people to make working people blame poor people. Now here's 10 facts about illegal people. Number 1. Undocumented immigrants commit crimes at a much lower rate than U.S.-born citizens. Why? Fear of deportation. So imagine if we could do that to homegrown criminals. Number 2, undocumented immigrants pay state, local, and sales tax over $400 billion in 2017 alone. Those guys standing outside Home Depot looking for day labor work, they're not the ones who outsource your job to China. By the way, racist idiots, there are no national politicians currently calling for open borders or amnesty. Anyone who tells you there are is lying, or as I like to call it, bearing false witness. You know who did call for that? Ronald Reagan, that's right, the star of all your right-wing porn fantasies. St. Ronnie gave amnesty to millions of undocumented people and claimed that open borders allows them to just go home when they're done working here. But don't feel bad, you racist douchebags. Reagan still supported apartheid. You ever notice whenever they raid one of these meatpacking plants down south and they arrest several hundred illegal workers, they're a lot slower to arrest the guys in the back room who did the hiring, who are counting all the cash. And that is all the proof you need to know that the illegal immigration scare is regressive gaslighting bullshit. Donald Trump hires undocumented labor. Going back to the 80s, it was Polish workers who built Trump Tower, but they never got called illegals because they're white. Even as president, Trump continued to employ undocumented workers. He's now done it in 2 different centuries, all to avoid paying American workers a living wage. You are being suckered by millionaire-at-birth hypocrites. Does it physically hurt to be this freaking gullible? Oh, let's talk about the wall. You morons understand that they were never actually going to build a physical medieval wall for thousands of miles stretching across deserts and rivers and forests and private and commercial properties and seizing land from American citizens using eminent domain law, right? You understand that was a scam? It wasn't going to get finished. Mexico was never going to pay for it. And even if they had, twits, ladders and shovels are things. They looted the military for a scam. Steve Bannon was ripping people off and Trump pardoned him for it, and they are both now wagging their tiny junk at you. And that's not a pretty sight. The majority of American voters rejected Donald Trump's immigration agenda in 2016. The majority rejected it again in 2020, but he still has a chance to be the first man to lose the popular vote 3 times. I alone can do it. What a dick. So remember, MAGA dudes, one of these days, you're going to stand before St. Peter. And on that day, you will discover what extreme vetting really fucking means. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and forgive me, I should have said at the top of the video, I'm only dressed in the tunic because it's laundry day, and I had nothing else to wear. Oh, and I'm only wearing the fake beard to hide my rosacea, so that's... Oh, you thought I was trying to look like him? Dude, I look nothing like him. I'm white.
Lavoie and David Ferguson of we know him as T-Rex.
Right.
And he's also on the Bob Seska show every Thursday and his band Astral Summer, and he's got a Patreon page. Just give him all the love you can. Please, please do that.
Please. I was attention starved as a child. My parents dropped me on my head.
Seth,
and then they sent me, I thought I was going to summer camp every year, and I was actually working at a cigarette factory in Nicaragua.
Seth in Los Angeles, are you the homo of hope or the homo of filth?
I'm the homo of filth, and I want to say, hey, girl.
Hey, honey.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
Hey, so the whole ABC thing reminds me of when our son had just joined our family. It was junior high, and I didn't know you couldn't walk onto the courts to argue with the ref when he called a foul on your son. It's so ridiculous. Now, my question...
Right.
And
They're
you
totally
guys...
discriminating against you, buddy. That is your right as the gay dad to get on the court and yell at the ref.
Then, don't you need to prove citizenship when you register
Yes,
to
you
vote?
do. You do. You need a birth certificate or a passport.
Where are they going to get these ballots that suddenly they're voting illegally, without proof of citizenship at the polling place? It's so stupid.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. I completely agree with you. And the fact that they are claiming that people that are undocumented or they call them illegals are voting is I had a nephew of mine say the same thing in 2016. 3 million people in California voted illegally. It's like, no, we did not. It's not happening, and it's a problem. It's a solution looking for a problem, is what it is. And so, no.
Gay dads are always right.
Yes, gay dads are always right. There is no doubt about that. No, I mean it's utter insanity that this is. It is. It's a solution in search of a problem that doesn't exist. I mean, they've been doing this for years. So Donald is very upset about the movie The Apprentice.
Yep.
Came out on Friday.
It did.
And he says it's a fake and classless movie written about me called The Apprentice, and it will hopefully bomb. He wrote on Truth Social just before 1 o'clock in the morning over the weekend. He was up late. And he
was
says,
on the toilet.
Yes, I'm sure he was. It's a cheap, defamatory, and politically disgusting hatchet job put out there right before the election to try to hurt.
Disgusting!
I know, to try to hurt the greatest political movement in the history of our country. Now, I read a review of it. Sebastian Stan, who is an amazing actor, by the way. I don't know if you've seen him in other things.
Sure.
He's an incredibly good actor, but apparently there's a scene in the movie where he actually has empathy for his brother Fred.
Oh, God.
And anybody that knows Donald Trump knows he had no empathy for anybody.
Yeah.
So they're like, why was he playing this guy with any empathy when he doesn't have any? And on that happy clappy note, it is 58 minutes after the hour. Thank you, David, so much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. But, it's got to be hard to, be an actor and you spend your entire career learning to project sincerity and empathy, and then they put you in that character.
I know.
And you're like, where you would go to be empathetic, oh, I forgot, this guy doesn't do that.
Right, exactly. We will see you guys tomorrow with Stephanie hosting the show. Thank you, everybody.